I have a series of clips here. I want to see if you can figure out a commonality between them all, like fireworks shows on the 4th of July.
Or two dudes absolutely slugging it out in the middle of an MMA octagon in front of a crowd of 60,000 people. To arguably one of the most breathtaking and beautiful sequences put in animated film. To the northern lights that dance and paint the skies. Or the cherry blossoms that come every spring in Japan. And wedding celebrations and festivities. To the various depictions of the end of the world as we know it, often differing in methods but sharing in the same message. To even a man himself giving birth that then gives birth to another man, and I'm gonna give it. I don't know. This one beats me. I need Jesus or God or.
Now, if you are still confused or not really sure what you just watched, I don't blame you. There's a lot going on in that couple clips, but the common theme that I'm aiming for here is this idea of something that I would like to deem the spectacle. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines spectacle as something exhibited to view as unusual, notable, or entertaining, especially an eye-catching or dramatic public display. The main thing I want to pull from here is that second part, the especially an eye-catching or dramatic public display. That is what I find to be at the heart of the spectacle and what I think is most commonly associated with. Now, the spectacle and some theories around it have been written on previously, most notably by Guy Debord, and the kind of central takeaways here and these theories being that the spectacle in terms of mass media often are associated with the most glaring superficial manifestations of said media. There are even allusions and hints towards the power of the spectacle over people and the often control that it has over people and their attention spans. And with these ideas of control over people, that leads me to the question of what does the spectacle do? And how does it lead to this sort of control on people? And for this, my kind of studies and research have led me to a psychological aspect and the sort of innate human desire for spectacle. And for this, I turned to the National Library of Medicine, where a kind of quote on this idea came out as the perceptual curiosity refers to the driving force that motivates organisms to seek out novel stimuli, which diminishes over continued exposure. And the main takeaway of this quote being the first two words, perceptual curiosity, it's what I believe to be at the heart of the spectacle and the reason why it's so successful in capturing our attention. The spectacle acts as a sort of answer to the novel stimuli that we seek out. And this is also seen in a sort of neurological and biological aspect, as there is a part in the brain called the amygdala that is the basis for the perception of our emotions, and curiosity being one of these emotions, it's regulated in the human brain itself and is a kind of biological basis for a kind of repetition of stimuli and a constant exposure to new stimuli. This is important to note because it shows that there's a sort of human need for stimuli and stimulation, and in regards to the spectacle, it acts as something that helps fulfill this need and desire for stimuli. And to take and apply these ideas to a sort of media theory aspect, I'd like to turn to a class reading I did by Jean Kempf called Picturing the Catastrophe. And the main kind of aspects of this article is how catastrophes are framed and pictured in certain specific ways to help kind of build these sort of spectacles and these big illustrations of disasters. Now, Kemp's article primarily focuses on photography and single photos, but an interesting quote that comes out of it is that pictures often need to be constructed according to specific visual principles and designed to capture the viewer's attention. This basically reaffirming the idea of the need of stimuli and how these pictures need to be produced or doctored in a way to fulfill that need. So with the established idea of this desire for spectacle, this leads me to the question of what happens when this desire is manipulated or twisted. And I think that the idea of this twisted spectacle and even the horror of the twisted spectacle is something that is really well explored in 2022's Nope, both written and directed by Jordan Peele.
What's a bad miracle? We gotta work for that.
This scene and question of the bad miracle and what it is something that I think is very relevant to the idea of the spectacle and is the central theme of the movie itself. It is something present within each and almost every character within the movie, and it directly impacts their character arc. And one of the most prime examples of this being the character of Jupe, played by Stephen Yeun in the movie, his character was a part of a fictional sitcom called Gordy's Home, which the whole gimmick of the show was essentially that they had a chimpanzee as a character, a live chimpanzee, and one day the chimpanzee goes rogue, ends up killing and maiming a bunch of people on set, and he is left scarred and traumatized. But 20, 30 years after the events of Gordy's Home, he is out on a ranch, and his whole character arc for the movie is him trying to capture the alien Jean Jacket. And his primary desire for doing this and for chasing after Jean Jacket is that he wants to capture again this sort of spectacle to have at his ranch and to draw people in and to bring more money to himself. And this, paired with the idea of his earlier events in Gordy's Home, kind of acts as a sort of ironic hubris for his character. He was present at the sort of twisted spectacle that was Gordy's Home and the killing that happened there, and then later on in the movie he holds his own twisted spectacle where he tries to capture Jean Jacket and directly causes himself and an entire crowd of people to be eaten. And the sort of takeaway and commentary that Peele is offering through the character of Jupe is the sort of unwillingness to learn from the spectacle and to keep chasing after it even though it has proven to be detrimental to him. This is also then explored through other characters in the movie. The example here being the motorcycle TMZ or YouTuber character who only exists to show up and to try and capture the spectacle of Jean Jacket and to get footage of the events going down, with this desire directly leading to his downfall. The character's final words here being, "I need my camera," again, directly reflective of this hurtful desire for the spectacle and the twisted nature of the spectacle directly causing his demise. And in a completely unrelated side note, the character is also a general insert for most YouTubers or social media influencers that entire career is based off of capturing spectacles or kind of building these spectacles and fabricating them for their audiences. Which is really funny under the context of Logan Paul, who was one of the current biggest influencers at the time of release, and him tweeting out a bunch of negative reviews and not understanding the point of Nope. Again, there's no real way to explain this too well. But that's you, brother. That is you in the movie. I don't know what we're doing or how you missed this. But motherfucker, that is you in the movie. That is directly you, a commentary. I can't, dude. Anyways, back to much better things. Another character in Nope is Antlers. He's a director, cinematographer guy who does a lot of nature documentaries, and he is known for capturing the impossible shots or things that are deemed impossible, i.e. the spectacle. With, again, his character arc being to capture the spectacle, and it, again, directly just leading to his demise. Another interesting point in the movie is the character of OJ, which serves as a kind of contrast and contradiction to this whole idea of the spectacle. His whole demeanor is really low-key. He just could not care less about any of the big production stuff going on. And Jordan Peele places OJ as one of the main protagonists of the movie, and one of the key aspects he figures out is that to kind of counteract Jean Jacket and to beat the alien and survive, he just doesn't look at it. He doesn't give the spectacle the sort of desire and craving that it wants, and he just completely rejects that notion. Peele also kind of shoots the movie and builds it in the same ideology of playing with this notion of giving the viewer the stimulation and the spectacle that they want. And he doesn't. There's a lot of scenes throughout the movie where he will allude to something just above the characters, but he never shows it. Or a lot of the marketing, the teaser trailer stuff, never actually shows Jean Jacket, but alludes to it in the clouds or something. He plays with these ideas a lot throughout the movie of teasing the viewer and kind of building this tension and this sort of euphoric moment of finally getting that stimulation. And to bring this back to Kempf, one of the interesting things Peele does is he continues this motif of not giving the viewer what they want by framing, and he frames a lot of his film or picture in the opposite way of what we would expect. But I say a lot of times in horror movies or big action movies, you'll be in the POV of the character looking at the alien, the other force, or something like that. But Peele will just not do this. Again, he'll just keep the spectacle out of the frame entirely, or just barely allude to it, or not even give it lighting in the slightest bit. He just kind of lets it exist, makes it known that it exists, but never actually shows it. And to bring this to kind of a conclusionary note, the main idea that I wanted to pull and to instill into you guys is that through the characters of Nope and the kind of way it's shot, the framing, Jordan Peele is clearly delving into the profound implications of our society's obsession with this creating, capturing, and watching of spectacles. And each kind of the monster jean jacket, the characters throughout it, all represent the facet of our collective fears, anxieties, and even desire for this spectacle, and even subsequently the consequences that come from this relentless pursuit of sensationalism and spectacles. And this brings me to the end of my little talk on Jordan Peele's Nope. Hope y'all got something out of this, learned some about the spectacle and sensationalism, even formed some opinions on it. But otherwise than that, hope y'all all had a good one and enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Hey, little editor's note here, Grant from the Future Editing, but I wanted to point out something that I thought was pretty cool. Let's say, I'm not sure how many of y'all know the Dead Meat channel, but if we go to their Dead Meat on the next Kill Count trailer, listen to what they have to say about Nope.
Little meaties and little meatettes, welcome to the ultimate kill count experience. We're covering an absolute spectacle,
Y'all hear that? Dude, I've media and I've theoried. That's all I gotta say. Confirmed. I retire from the sport. It's over. I am done. I got my ring. We're out of here. Just goodbye.